Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Dana, aka Blondie Knots here on YouTube. And today I wanted to do a quick little top 5 tips to surviving a bad craft show. I don't think there's one person who's been doing this long enough who has not had a market flop, a bad craft show, whatever you want to call it. We've all been there, done that. We've all gone through it. And so I put together a list of my top 5 ways to make the most of a bad show and how to still make it a good experience for yourself. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and stick around and we will hop right into the video. First and foremost, tip number 1 is bring a project that you can work on. If your craft is something you can easily take on the go, I would highly recommend you bring it with you because you never know if you're gonna have downtime, some time to work on your projects, get ahead for your next show. And this is just a great opportunity to even have shoppers see you working on your own project, see how it's made, a behind the scenes, if you will. Sometimes people really like to see that. So you can pack a project with you for really any show you go to, even if you anticipate being busy. Because if you do have a little bit of downtime, it's a great way to get ahead on some projects, like I said, for your next show, or maybe just a little personal project you're working on just for you. For me, crochet is quite easy to pack along with me. So I'll usually pop a project or two in my bag to bring. Like I said, if it's possible for whatever your craft is, I would highly recommend you pack one in your bag to bring with you. Tip number 2, and something I do all too often, is critique your own personal booth. Walk out from behind the back where you typically stand and really take in your booth and look at it from a buyer perspective. See what they're seeing, see what you think is grabbing their eye, how you could improve things, perfect things, change certain things. I usually will take just a picture of my booth for me just to go back and reflect on and see, okay, I like that I did that this time. I'm gonna incorporate that next time, but I'm gonna change this. I've said this in many videos, but your booth, in my opinion, is a ever-changing, always evolving project. I can always make my booth better. And so this is a great way to just step out and really see what your buyers are seeing. It's just good to see things from a customer perspective that sometimes you don't get to see after you set up and rush to get behind your booth. Another great thing you can do if you have the opportunity to is take a little walk around and look at some of the other booths that are there at the show. See what other people are doing that you like, and it doesn't even have to be with a similar craft. Someone selling cups could be doing something you really like and you're like, I can make that work for crochet stuff, or I can make that work for my earring display, or whatever it is you're selling. Of course, do not copy what people are doing, but it is a great idea to go and take inspiration from other people's booth, or use this as a time. Like for me personally, at my last show that was very slow, I took a moment to walk around. When I came back to my booth, I was super underwhelmed with my setup. Like I very much just thought it looked like everyone else's. So that is something you can also maybe take from taking a walk around and coming back to yours, and it helps you look at it with fresh eyes. You're not just so laser focused on your own booth. It's good to go look at everyone else and then see what needs to be different at your booth, or what you would like to do differently to make your booth stand out, authentic to who you are, all that good stuff. Just take inspiration from it, be inspired by people, but don't copy them. Tip number 3, and another great thing you can do, is go mingle with other vendors. I actually love to do this. I love to get out from behind my booth when I have a couple extra seconds, or once I notice someone else is done setting up where I'm not going to be impeding before the show starts. I go over, introduce myself, find out their name, what they're selling, how long they've been doing it, you know, all the good things. So I always like to go introduce myself. It's great to meet your other local artists as well, and maybe purchase from them, which I can get myself in trouble with sometimes, spending a little bit too much on slower days, but it is nice to support other local artists. And it's also great to get to know other people because you can stay in contact about, hey, I found this show you might really enjoy. They might know of a show you haven't heard of before or seen yet, and they could give you some insight on getting into that show, good feedback on other shows in the area. It's nice to see other familiar faces at other shows, meet your local vendors, and know that you know other people in the community. I think is always a great thing. Get their socials, get connected, network, do collabs maybe with some people. All kinds of great things can come from meeting your fellow local vendors. Tip number 4 is an unfortunate one, but sometimes you never know until you try something. Sometimes you just have to go to a show and figure out that it's not for you, and that's totally okay. It happens to the best of us. It happens to all of us. You're not always going to know exactly every single time what shows are tailored for what you sell, if your target audience will be there, all that kind of stuff. And especially in the beginning, you just have to get your feet wet essentially and go to these shows, especially if a show is a lower costing show for you to do. I would say just do it because you'll probably at least make your booth fee back, and it's good to learn, and who knows, it could actually be a banger show for you. You literally never know sometimes. So I think it's a great way to just learn. You go, you learned, okay, you make a mental note, hey, not gonna do that show again. It's never gonna know until you go. And maybe you'll wanna try it again. Maybe you did the spring one, you wanna try the winter one before you totally write it off. And it's no harm, no foul. It's okay if a show is not for you and your target audience. I think it's great to go get the experience, put your product out there. So like I said, specifically, if it's a lower cost show, I think it's a great experience and it's worth doing regardless of how it goes for you. 5th and last tip, and probably the most difficult one, staying positive. And that is so much easier said than done because we are human and it can be so sad, unmotivating, devastating when you are not making good sales at a show. I know the feeling. It's a horrible feeling, but just know it's not your fault that your products are not selling. Not every show is going to be for you, and like I said, not every show is going to have your target audience there, but you do need to try your very best to remain in good spirits for potential customers at the current show you are at, especially because even if it is a slower foot traffic show, you could still generate really good profit off of the people that are there. You never know what they're looking for, what they might want to be purchasing that day. Maybe you have exactly what they've been looking for, and yeah, it's $100, but they want it, and that is great. You just never want a potential customer to come to your booth and have a negative experience because you're in a bad mood, because you're not selling a lot at your show. You never know. Maybe they don't buy something from you from this show, but maybe they go to a lot of craft shows and they would see your booth at a busier show where you're more energetic, you're in a better mood, and they decide not to buy something from you because they remembered having a very negative experience last time at your booth. Fortunately, that's just the harsh reality of it. So we just have to try our best to stay in very good spirits. Doom and gloom you go into when you're not selling. I know that because I've been there. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe my prices are too high. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not selling things anyone cares about. And that's not the case at all. You're just not at a good show for you. And again, it's totally okay. Stay all the way through the show. Remember to have good market etiquette. Don't pack up early and go home. People hate when other people do that. And you just don't want to be that person at the show that's just being a sourpuss because you know, you didn't sell. Most likely everyone at that show probably didn't sell if it's a slow show. We all go through this. We all have a bad day. We all have a bad show, and it's totally okay. It is what it is. Maybe your next show, you'll do double what you thought. You just never know. You do this because you love doing it. Just remember to stay in that mindset as much as possible during your slower shows. So there you have it, guys. Those are my top 5 tips to surviving a bad show. If you have any other tips you use, go ahead and drop them in the comments for me or for anyone else watching this video. We can all use some extra tips on how to navigate bad shows. Just please know you are not alone when you have a bad show. We all have one, whether people tell you it or not. It's just the truth of the matter. Not every show can be amazing. Start every show with a very positive, good mindset, and that will get you so far, I promise you. Every show is different, and you never know what a show is going to bring for you. If you like this video, guys, please don't forget to hit the like button. It really, really helps me out. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you'd like to see next. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. And thank you so much for letting me take up a little bit of your time here on the internet today. I'll be seeing you in my next one. Bye!